everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new release first wave of Muppet Select figures from Diamond Select Toys. So the first wave comes with 3 different sets of figures. We've got Kermit the Frog with Bean and Robin, Fozzie the Bear and Scooter, and Gonzo the Great with his girlfriend Camille the Chicken. Okay, so the figures come packaged in a very standardized looking type packaging, very similar to what we see with other Select 7-inch Select figures from Diamond Select Toys. And I've got to say, I'm not sure this packaging is a good use of space. It seems like the packaging is very large compared to the size of the figures and everything. Now the figures are clearly displayed in the packaging along with all the accessories. And then you've got the image of Fozzie and Kermit down below. You've got Mrs. Piggy and Beaker in the back, and off to the side you have the Muppets logo and the Disney logo. And then when you turn the packaging to the side, we have looks like kind of like a book or something, and we've got images of each of the characters from the actual TV show. And then on the back of the packaging we have a look at the actual figures in each of the sets, and then down below it shows us the other figures in the wave. We also have some images of Gonzo, and I think that's Rizzo the Rat kind of peeking their heads off to the side and the top. Okay, so let's get these open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figures outside of the packaging along with all the accessories. So first of all, each set of figures comes with a little catalog that shows you various Muppet related products that are coming from Diamond Select Toys. So we're getting mini mates in the first series of Select figures, and then on the back they're also got some Muppet glasses that are coming out. Okay, so for the figures and the accessories themselves, you can see you get quite a few different little accessories. However, I've got to say that most of these seem to be kind of a waste because you really can't do anything with them. So with the Gonzo and the Scooter and the Fozzie Bear set, you get this little director thing that doesn't have any articulation at all, and then you get this little blowhorn thing and a chicken for Fozzie and glasses, and he's got his hat. Now the hat, unfortunately, you can set it on top of the figure, but it just basically sits there. If you move the figure around at all, that hat's going to fall right off. They didn't make it so the hat fits snugly on the head, so that's definitely disappointing. And then with most of these figures, you can see the hands are all basically open, so they really can't hold anything very good. So a lot of these accessories like the guitar and the coffee cup and the popcorn and the horn, you know, are really kind of a waste because they really can't hold them very well. So definitely I would have rather seen something like a diorama piece to create the Muppet stage, you know, take a page from their Ghostbusters line and provide us with a diorama piece or something than these accessories that you really can't do a whole lot with. Now the glasses, the mustache glasses you can put on Fozzie, and they do fit. You have to kind of do it under his ears, but you can kind of get it to stick on there, so that works. But again, if you move that hat or figure around with that hat's going to fall off really easily. Okay, so just to give you a breakdown, the Fozzie and the Scooter set comes with a hat, the glasses, the chicken, the little shout horn, blowhorn, whatever you want to call it, megaphone, and the director clip. The Kermit set comes with a log, a guitar, a banjo, this director chair, and this little stool. And then the Gonzo set comes with this light, a horn, popcorn, a coffee mug, and an easel. So with this Kermit the Frog set, you can get Kermit to sit in the director chair if you want, and the director chair is just black and with some brown color for the wood. There's no like name on the back of the chair or anything like that. You can also get Kermit because the banjo does have a strap, so you can kind of put that in and get him to hold that halfway decently. And you can also get Kermit to sit on this little log if you want to kind of recreate the scene from the Muppet movie. Now the guitar is I found more challenging. It doesn't have a strap, so getting Kermit to hold this one is much more challenging. Again, if you can kind of sit it in his hands, but if you move the figure at all, he's going to drop it. Bean here has this little stoop which you can basically kind of just lean him up against. He doesn't, I wouldn't say he really sits on it. He really doesn't have much in the way of articulation, so you can't bend the legs out or anything. So again, you can kind of just lean him against the stool, and you really have to because this figure isn't going to really stand very well on his own, so you really kind of need that stool to keep him standing. He has limited articulation. You can rotate the arms, and that's basically it. You can move move the legs a little bit up here at the thigh, but not really. So really very little articulation. Same with the rabbit. You can move the arms. No, he does have head articulation, so you can turn the head. You can do the legs a bit. No knee articulation, but you can rotate the legs back and forth. And then Kermit out of this group has the most articulation. He actually has decent articulation, though he has very tiny joints, so I would recommend a lot of caution when you're posing this figure because these joints look like they could break very easily. You can even see here on his knee, just from bending his knee, it looks like the plastic is strained a little bit. So definitely I would recommend caution with when you pose this figure around with these little tiny joints. But he does overall have decent articulation. The arms are attached with ball joints. You've got the ball joints at the shoulder or at the elbow, so he can bend his elbow pretty good, and he's got rotation. He's got rotation at the hands. He's got hinges on the hands, so he's got up and down movement. He's got a hinge on the neck, but really doesn't have a whole lot of up and down movement. Can turn his head to the left and the right. Again, you've got rotation there where the leg meets the body. You've got a single hinged knee, but he still has pretty good bending. You've also got rotation there at the knee. Same with the feet. You've got up and down hinges, and you've got a little bit of pivot there. And with Kermit, I just want to point out, I do have some sloppiness with the paint on the eye. You can see the white from the eyeball is spilled over onto the actual head. And then the eyeballs themselves, the black pupils, seem to be, this one on the right side seems to be a little bit bigger. I like the paint detail in the mouth with the tongue. That looks pretty good. And the rest of the paint is pretty decent. His collar's a little bit lighter green, but I think that's actually how it is in the TV show. So the Gonzo and Camille set, I would say, has the most useless of accessories. So they come with this easel. I'm not really sure what this is. I'm assuming it's maybe one of Gonzo's skits. I don't remember, but it's this easel. There's nothing that really goes with it. It doesn't have any articulation, anything. It's just done with a brown plastic. Then we get this stage light, and this seems to be very delicate as well. It actually is starting to come apart. It looks like these lower legs kind of attach with pegs, and so it was starting to come apart. It's not really supposed to be removable, I don't think. The legs don't have no articulation or anything. You got some silver here in the light itself, which, a little bit of wash work to make it look like it's a light, so that's not bad. I mean, it looks good and all. It just seems to be very delicate and not a whole lot you can really do with it. Then he's got this horn, and I haven't found any real way to get him to hold the horn. You could kind of sit it there like that, but you're not going to get him really in any kind of get him to hold it to look like he's playing it or anything. Same with the coffee mug. Not a whole lot you can do with it. You can maybe kind of jam it, the handle of the coffee mug over his fingers so he can hold it like that, but that's about as best you can do with that. He's got this popcorn, so you can kind of close the arms enough so you can kind of wedge it in between his two hands if you want. But again, that's about as much as you can do. And if you really kind of move it around, that's probably going to just fall out. So just be careful. Camille really has no articulation at all, so I would consider her more of an accessory than an actual figure. She can't even turn her head, so no articulation at all on this. Paint applications are good. You basically got this white with the red and the yellow for the beak, but paint applications overall are pretty solid on this line. And then Gonzo, again, very tiny joints, so just be careful when you're moving around. He's got the most articulation, obviously, because Camille has none, so he can turn his head left and right, no real up or down movement with the head. You can rotate the arms. You've got rotation at the elbow. You can bend the elbows about that much. You can rotate the hands, but no hinges on the hands. He does have a waist swivel, and then he can do his leg forward about that much, and you can get the leg back about that much. He's got a single hinged knee, so he can bend his knee about that much, and you've got rotation there. And then the legs, you've got the hinges, so you've got some up and down movement, and you do have ankle pivot with Gonzo. Okay, and then finally the Fozzie and Scooter set. So again, the accessories with these are very difficult to use in most cases. So I already mentioned about Fozzie's hat and how it basically will fall right off. Also, Scooter, There's a little, when you take Scooter out of the packaging, there's this little elastic strap that holds his glasses in place. I would recommend that you not remove that. The glasses just sit on his head, so if you remove that little elastic piece, his glasses are just going to fall right off, and you can see the eyes, which is actually how the puppet itself is on the TV show, but the eyes are part of the glasses, so if his glasses fall off, he's just got that blank face. So I don't know why, he really never takes his glasses off on the show, so I don't know why they made his glasses removable. It would have been better, I think, if they had made it so they were just stuck on there, or at least made it so they were more secure. But if you remove that little elastic strap, that when you take it out of the packaging, just beware that the glasses are going to fall off really easily. Fozzie's got the little mustache glasses, and those do actually fit on pretty well, even with the hat, though the hat again won't stay on very well. And then he's got that rubber chicken, which you can kind of sit in his hand. There goes Scooter's glasses. You can kind of sit in his hand, but he's not going to grip it well. He probably grips it better from the legs. You can maybe kind of wedge the legs in there a little bit better. So if you want him to hold the chicken, that's probably the better way to get him to hold that chicken. His tie is a separate piece, but it's not removable. And then we get this director clip, which really, again, you can maybe kind of wedge in between the hands of a figure, but not really something that he can use that well, and it's not going to stay very well if you move the figure around. And then same with you can kind of maybe wedge it in between, over his hand a little bit, but he's not going to hold it very well. Maybe stick it in between his fingers. That's probably the best way to get him to hold it, is wedge it between his fingers. But again, not really going to hold it very tightly. Now, Fozzie and Scooter are probably the most durable of the bunch. They have the most sturdy joints. So with Fozzie, you can turn his head. Has a little bit of up and down. He's got that hinge joint, but not a whole lot of motion there, but you do have a little bit of up and down movement. Arms you can get out. It's got good rotation at the arms. Got single hinged elbows. Can only bend his elbow about that much, but does have rotation there. Has the rotation at the hand. Has hinges on the hand, so has some up and down movement with the hand. No midsection joint on him. He can basically rotate his legs. He doesn't have any knees. Can't really do his legs forward because they're really short. He's got the hinges on the feet, so he does have up and down movement, but no real ankle pivot. Well, I take that back. He does have ankle pivot, so good with the ankle pivot on the feet with him. And then for Scooter, again, there goes his glasses. You can turn his head. He's got a little hinge joint, so he's got a little bit of up and down movement. I've got some paint blemishes here. You can see the yellow from his shirt has gone onto his neck. Not that major, but just want to point that out. You can get the arms out good, got good rotation, single hinged elbows, but can bend his elbow pretty good, can rotate at the elbow, has the swivels at the hand, has hinges on the hand, so up and down movement, has waist swivel, has the side hinges for legs, so he can actually do the splits pretty good. He can get his leg forward pretty good, and he can do his leg back a little bit. Single hinged knee, so he can bend his knee about that much. Also has rotation there at the knee, and then has hinges on the feet, so good up and down movement, and does have ankle pivot. So the scale on these figures seem to be pretty good. They seem to be in pretty good scale with one another. Fozzie is the tallest of the bunch, and he stands about 4 3/4, a little bit over 4.5 inches tall. Then there's Scooter, and he's about 4 1/4 inches tall. Gonzo stands at about 3 1/4 inches tall, and Kermit stands just under 4 inches, maybe 3 3/4 inches. And then Camille is about 2 1/4 inches, 2.5 inches tall. Rabbit's about 2 inches tall, and Bean is about 2 1/4 inches tall. Okay, so that's my review. I would say if you're a big Muppets fan and you're just looking for some figures you can display on your shelf and not touch again, these might be worth checking out. I think the sculpting on them is good, and the paint applications aren't that bad. There's a few blemishes on some of them, most notably with Kermit and the white splotch near his eye, but I think the figures are pretty decent looking and will look nice on your shelf. The downside to these figures for me is the frustration when you're trying to pose them, things like Fozzie's hat and Scooter's glasses falling off so easy. Most of the accessories seem to be a waste to me because they're not very usable with the figures, and some of the figures have very limited to no articulation at all. Camille is much more of an accessory to me than an actual action figure because she has no articulation, and even Bean and the rabbit have very limited articulation. Bean can't stand on his own without having that stoop prop him up. So as I said, if you're looking for just something to display on your shelf, you might want to check these out. But if you're looking for something that you can handle and pose and stuff, I would definitely recommend thinking hard on it. The figures also aren't terribly cheap. They cost between about $23 and $25 a set. So these figures are out now. They're available at comic and specialty shops and online e-tailers that sell Diamond Select toy products. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook and or Twitter pages. I'll have links to those as well in the description below. And until next time, I'll catch you later.